Aloha, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 185. Can you guys believe it? We actually made it to 185 episodes. So, thank you guys for following and subscribing to the podcast, Tiggy Maximus Talks, on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you for following, subscribing, donating to the podcast, telling your friends and family. Um, I always love talking about food, comedy, and sports. And, well, on this episode, oh, by the way, if you want to donate, there's a link on this episode. It'll take you to the Spotify episode, and you can click on any link on any of the episodes and you can donate towards the podcast. And apparently, you can make a monthly donation as little as 99 cents a month. Anything's appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for donating and listening and spreading the word. Follow and subscribing, and let's get into it. On this episode 185, I actually got a chance to go to Burbank. I think it was last Saturday, July 20th. So, I drove up. I wanted to see the show from the Grey Matterz boys, and I guess the group is run by Kevin the Carpenter. So I was invited to come up, see the show. It was held at the Bruise Brothers. So I come up. Parking was kind of full, but there was some open parking spots across the street. But it appears that you might need a permit to park there. But then again, there was only one car in the empty parking lot across the street. I don't know if the permit was actually required when it's like during business hours, but when it's after hours, I mean, I suppose that you can park there after hours. You don't need a permit. So maybe one day if I go back there, I'll try my luck. But I was able to find some street parking close by, maybe a couple blocks away. So I show up. Comedy show is upstairs. Got to meet some of the comics before and some of the comics after. So Grey Matterz boys, I think they are a mixture of basically music with comedy. So you either have a guy who will play the guitar, or a guy that will sing, or a guy that will be playing the harmonica and a little mini piano. So I would say, they're kind of like a very multi-talented, to tell jokes while playing music and singing. So so for the very first part of the show, I got to see Joey Ryan Martinez. Guy had some good jokes. I think he did talk about being mixed race. So, and this crowd was not too bad. I think he had like maybe 20-25 people in the crowd, and it started at 8 o'clock. So as Joey took over the microphone from Kevin the Carpenter, who kind of kicked off the night's festivities, and he kind of got ready because Kevin actually shows up at least twice during the show. So Joey Martinez, but yeah, he had quite a few jokes talking about being mixed race, and talked about I guess I think it was like the pros and cons of both races. I guess both being white and I guess Latino. So I would say Joey did a great job hosting the entire night, and with a few jokes that he told, um, I would say good reaction for at least half of the time he was up there, and I enjoyed it. I would say he was an 8.3 out of 10. Um, the next comic, I think, was a late substitution because there was supposed to be another comic was supposed to be on there, but I guess the other comic had to no show. So Itai Lev had to step in last minute. He has been featured a few times out in LA, and he's looking for work out in San Diego, so I might actually help with that. Um, Apparently, he told me that he does have a viral clip, so I'm gonna check that out, and then who knows? I'll submit that clip to some of the San Diego comics to see if they would want him on their shows in the near future. So, um, he has some good jokes. Crowd liked him for almost the entire set. Um, he probably didn't get everyone to laugh at the same time, but he did get people laughing almost every 2 minutes, give or take, every minute, every 2 minutes. So I would say Itai was 8.4 out of 10. And I got to talk to him after the show, and I guess I'm gonna try to help him out as much as I can with the San Diego scene. Next up, we have Woody the Bad Puppet, and I guess Kevin the Carpenter is part of this, and Woody, I guess, is kind of like, I guess you could say, a dirty puppet. Talking about women, talking about Pinocchio, and what was it? Was it Giuseppe? Geppetto, and Pinocchio. Yeah. So it was kind of cool, kind of seeing how this would turn out, but I didn't feel that the people were in it too much. But I guess apparently, if Kevin drinks water, it's basically washing out the mouth of Woody. But I mean, it was alright, but I don't think it hit too well with the crowd. I would say the comedy segment with Kevin and Woody, I want to say it's 7.6 out of 10. Next we have, I think his name is Greg Hamilton. Yeah. So he plays the piano, and he does remind me of kind of like Richard Simmons, or yeah, Richard Simmons, the guy who does all the exercising. He kind of has the hair for it, but he was not too bad on the piano, and he did some jokes while he was on the piano. I want to say he was an 8.2 out of 10, and he actually showed up again later in the night for the show. He joined the Grey Matterz boys on the piano. But yeah, 8.2 out of 10 for Greg Hamilton. Next up, I believe we have Brian Schmeidt. Um, well, the guy is pretty funny, pretty good. He was probably the best one of the whole group, actually, of the lineup. Um, he had quite a few jokes, and he had some storytelling, I believe, and the crowd just kind of ate it up for almost everything he said, and I really enjoyed it. I'm just surprised I haven't seen him in San Diego that much, and he is friends with apparently Ray Lau, I think. So Ray Lau I've seen a few times, but yeah, Brian Schmeidt is gonna be somewhere in San Diego. You know, I would think that you know, he'll get some call ups from San Diegans, San Diego comics, and then perform in San Diego. So only time will tell. Brian Schmeidt, I want to say he was an 8.7 out of 10. I actually enjoyed talking to him. And the next person, I guess it's his girlfriend, Liz Hayter. She was the next one. She wanted to play the guitar, but it only lasted about a minute, and I don't know if she was just forgot the words, and then she put away the guitar, but she ended up playing jokes. Um, the jokes weren't too bad. It might have gone a little dark, but there were some laughs, but not so much throughout her set. And I thought she was a little soft spoken, so it was kind of hard to hear her. But I want to say Liz Hayter was a 7.5 out of 10. And then the group that closed out the show, Grey Matterz Boys, three of them. So they were a fun group. They had a few songs they wanted to go through. You got to see some guitar, you got to see some singing, you got to see a handheld piano, you got to see a harmonica, and then they brought on Greg Harrison on the piano. So it was kind of cool that they did a four-man performance for the one of the songs, but most of the songs were basically three of them. I believe they kind of had some cover songs, but they changed the words, changed the lyrics to their own to make it funny. I would say their performance, the Grey Matterz Boys, 8.5 out of 10. So overall, it was a good show from beginning to end. I really liked Brian Schmeidt. And then all the other ones were fine. So maybe someday I'll come back. I would say I would recommend seeing the Great Matterz Boys. I would probably recommend seeing Itai Lev, Brian Schmeidt, and let's see what happens next, guys. I actually went to another show, the Mic Drop. It was produced by Alan Henderson. That was July 21st, the next day on Sunday. Alan Henderson started off usual jokes, usual, crowd work. I guess I was the only person that participated in the first part of the crowd work when he talked about, like, he asked a question to the crowd: if your girlfriend or your lady friend is dressed as a clown, is that a deal breaker? And I guess I was the only one who answered, and I said no, in a quiet room. But overall, like, it just got more funny as his set went along. So I'm pretty glad that this show pretty much almost sold out the Gold Room, and Alan was a 9 out of 10 for his comedy. The next person that came out was Dave Callens. Funny guy. He talks about being a teacher. Um, talks about the kids. So yeah, crowd liked him a lot. Um, I would say 8.75 out of 10 for him. First time seeing the next guy here, Ryan Shores. The guy started off talking about how um, he just happens to follow women by accident because apparently he goes the same route as the women do. And I guess from a certain distance, I guess women are fine that he's been following them, but from a certain distance. But then when he gets really close, I guess that's when it gets very uncomfortable. And then he had a friend that has some weird suggestions that either yell out that you're not following them or um, so so yeah. Um, uh, he also talked about you should run past the woman to get ahead, but then that also will come out as weird. Um, so it was pretty funny overall. Also, the fact that he can't seem to shake off his appearance because he seems like a creep or a stalker or someone that follows, and he swears that his voice is always like that. But overall, he just made it more funny, and I like that he owned up the fact that he owns what he looks like, and so that was pretty funny. And honestly, I can't wait to see him again. Um, Ryan, I want to say he was a 9 out of 10. Um, the next person that went up was I've seen before, Bijan Mostavi, and he had quite a few jokes. He had some new ones I noticed, um, and he did pull back one old joke where he said that he roofied his friend because all his buddies say that he was making things very uncomfortable at gatherings and stuff, and figured just roofie one of your good buddies and he'll just sleep the night off, and then all the other guys will get to have fun at parties and bars and stuff, have a good time without him. So, and he said that he was okay. So I always thought that was kind of funny because when you have that one friend that is really out there and you realize that the only way you can have a good time is to roofie your good friend so that he won't ruin the fun for everybody else. So um but yeah, he talked about getting married. So he got married recently. So crowd liked him a lot. Almost everything he said was pretty funny. Um, made for a really good show. Oh, by the way, I did bring two people with me. A realtor by the name Roxana. She's a realtor, and she brought her sister Isabella. Um, they're both blue checkmark verified. Uh, so or Isabella is verified, and Roxana, I think um, she's a certified realtor. So it's kind of cool. I could tell that they had a good time with the whole entire show. With Bajan, I want to say he was 9 out of 10. Really good, really good. And then the headliner, the one guy to close it out, was Jesse Egan. We talked about how he lost his sense of taste, and he talked about his Hawaiian shirt. So he did talk about having COVID. Um, he talked about dating, different back then in his 20s versus now. Um, so there was a lot of great stuff. He had a lot of great jokes. He had some new ones, I could tell. The fact that my two companions had a good time, they were laughing at his stuff and everybody else's. Crowd liked the rest of the crowd just liked what Jesse had to say for most of his set. So, and I did notice that he had a weird way of ending his set, but overall he got a lot of good laughs. So, I want to say Jesse Egan was 9.2 out of 10. Um, oh, I do want to mention. So I did get a chance to go to Anaheim before I went up to Burbank on Saturday, and I got to try out Button World. It was recommended to me by my good friend comic Ellis Lynn. Um, I got the shrimp and pork um, dumplings. I also got the beef soup dumpling, and those were good stuff. Really good dumplings. I'm glad I tried it. The shrimp and pork dumpling. I want to say that was. Um, I want to say they were 8.9 out of 10. Really good shrimp and pork. The meat, the flavor inside, the way that the dumpling was intact actually. 8.9. I loved it. I would go back. I would try other stuff too. Um, I did like the beef soup dumpling. You can taste the broth inside the dumpling once you bite into it. The beef was pretty good. I want to say it was an 8.8 out of 10. Um, and I like the fact that this restaurant wasn't crowded by other places. It was actually in the middle. It was like right off of the freeway. It was right next to a pho place. Uh, Overall, I like Button World, so I recommend it to anybody. I will go back again. I will try out some other stuff. They have other stuff too. I think they have like fried rice. They have noodles, soup, other dumplings. So I recommend to anybody. Um, oh, and also with the comedy show from Sunday night at Mic Drop, Alan Henderson. Um, so I recommend that you guys go see Alan Henderson because he's always fun. His crowd work is never, you never get the same like stories that come out from his crowd work because he does pose a premise to everybody. Um, and then I recommend seeing Dave Callens. I also recommend people see Ryan Shores. He's super funny. And if you see Bajan around, go to his shows. He's really funny. Jesse Egan. I'm glad I got to see him a second time. He did better than the first time. I recommend anybody to go watch his shows as well. All these great people, go out and see them. Go out and see them at a town near you. And next time I talk to you guys, it'll be episode 186. And I'll be. Hopefully, I can give you guys some predictions of UFC 304. It's coming from Manchester, England. So I'm going to find a place to watch it tomorrow night. And have a good time with my buddies, watch some good fights, have some good food, have some good company, and watch some good action. So, all right, guys, you know the saying goes, boom, Tiggy Maximus, signing off. There, guys, baby, baby. There, guys, Sarah, miedo.